Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. Yet could it also be the keystone to unlocking many of the unknown mysteries? In this show, we'll be discussing all of the haunts, local legends, and unknown phenomena that have happened right here in our very own backyard. I'm your host, Matt Boyer, a senior investigator in the paranormal field.
And I'm Jacob Bacasa, a junior investigator.
And this is Unearthing the Unknown. What the heck?
What?
What the heck?
What?
Jake!
You want to spit it out?
The drip, man. I mean, first off, you're in jeans. You're not in your regular tan pants. You're wearing a flannel, and I mean, kudos for wearing your WSVC shirt, but no black hoodie. And oh my god, the beanie. It's not the infamous red beanie.
You keep saying infamous. This is only infamous between
A few of us.
two people.
It is your signature look for once you were wearing a green beanie instead of a red one. This is no.
Sorry.
Wow.
Wanted to break the pattern.
Well,
At least I didn't have my badge on upside down the entirety of last shoot.
okay, that was 2 episodes ago, and that's because you didn't tell me about that.
What?
Yeah. Hey, it's straight on now. Same with last episode, it was on straight. Alright, so we are right now sitting in the sad lounge of the 3rd floor of Wimmer. I'm allowed to say that it's sad because this is my floor. I'm living here on the 3rd floor of Wimmer. This is my 3rd year in it, so this is a story that I've been very interested in wanting to tell. But also, breaking with tradition, then all of our episodes, except for 2 episodes ago, we are back inside, so you can't complain about the cold. In fact, you are right up against the pipes. They're right in here that heat this room, so you can be happy.
I'm not just going to complain that it's hot because I'm wearing a freaking flannel.
Well, that's your fault.
What?
What? Okay. So we are here to tell the story of Jim Boyle. Okay? This is a neat story. This isn't as much of a ghost story as it is just a very creepy story.
So you go from neat to creepy.
Well, it's neat in a way because, you'll hear about it and find out, but it's also creepy at the same time. And,
Neat, he says. Keep that in mind for later.
yeah. Anyhow, so James Boyle, B-O-Y-L-E. This story with him takes place on March 6th, 1995. So this is actually one of our more newer stories.
This is the second newest story.
Yeah, because we've told so many that were early years.
AKA
then
like 5 or 6.
Yeah. Then we've had Jenny from Benny, which was a newer story. Then we went back to older stories, talking about the tower and the woods.
Yeah.
And now we're here. So what happened was Jim Boyle, again, B-O-Y-L-E is how you spell his last name. That's going to come important. That's why I keep spelling it. Was the former...
No relation to boil as in the thing on your face, or you boil hot water.
You will find out. But do keep that in mind there, Jake. So he was the director of safety and security at St. Vincent back in the 90s. So this was pretty much the job that Stephanie Fago, who is the current director of pub safety, holds.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the same job. So, as you know, there are sometimes people who are on staff that actually live here in some of the buildings.
I knew of one of them.
Yeah.
Who lived in Jerry with us.
Yeah. Ish. Oh.
It was one of the custodial staff.
Okay. Because I'm almost certain that Ish lives over in Jerry, too.
Oh, does he?
I think so. I might be wrong. It might be Bonnie, but I know that he's in one of those. But there's other people. Like, we've mentioned the great Father Brian Boozle. He used to live in Benny, back when he was still here at the college. So there are cases where people have lived in the buildings. Jim lived here on the 3rd floor of Wimmer. Now, first off, to give a little background, Wimmer Hall is one of the more older dormitories.
Really?
Yeah, I know, crazy, right?
Really?
Yeah, you would never imagine it by this. This was actually built as the housing for all the seminarians back in the day. So it was changed. I want to say like in the 1960s or something like that. I think is when it got a makeover. So I don't know if the rooms were just as small as they are now. They are pretty small for any of those who don't know how small the rooms of Wimmer are. They are small. The lounge here is actually a bigger room. Like,
Yeah, I've been in his room.
yeah, you've been in my room. You know how small it is. I mean, you can pretty much almost reach from one wall to the other in my room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, so Jim lived here on the third floor, and March 6th of 1995, that was actually the Saturday ending off of spring break for St. Vincent that year.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, let me actually do this just real quick. Oh. I just want to make sure that I have this right. Okay, yeah, so spring break. I want to make sure that it wasn't Easter break. I want to make sure that my source was right. So this was spring break, 1995. Jim, what he would do with the security staff here is he would meet, they went in shifts of a morning and evening kind of shift. So he always met with the morning shift to kind of give them a little heads up on what's going on throughout the day, anything that they might need to know. And then he'd let them go off, do their thing, and he'd do the same thing when they switched to the evening staff for security. Well, on that Saturday, Jim does not show up for the morning roll call and kind of update with his officers.
Ooh.
So they don't think much. Now, like I said, he's 46 years old, so he's still kind of a younger guy.
Yeah.
And what happened was...
About to have that midlife crisis. Sorry, that was tasteless.
Well, actually, it may have been tasteless, but not far off, because this was a crisis that happened this day.
I'm good at guessing stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well this is just awful banter that we're having here.
Yeah.
What happened was they don't think much of it. So they come up here to the third floor of Wimmer, and what's used as the prefect's room here on the third floor is where he was living. So my prefect this year, the wonderful Braden Boggs, was told this story, and he hates me for telling him this story because he hates knowing that this was his room.
I would also hate it when we get to that event.
Yeah. Which I will be bringing in some that he told me a while back. So that will come here in a little bit. What happened was the officers come up and they knock on Jim's door, and they can hear through the door that the shower's running. So they're thinking, okay, maybe he just got a late start to the day. He's grabbing a shower. He'll be down later on. Well, the day goes on. The officers go off and they do their shift. And there's no sign of Jim. No one has seen him. He hasn't come into the office. He hasn't been out and about. Nothing. Now, to tell you, like I said, this is the Saturday ending off of spring break. So the next day, that Sunday, is when all the students were supposed to return back from spring break. So the only people that were on campus at the time would have been staff, for the most part. What happened was, without seeing Jim, they go off, they do their shift, and then it is around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the evening shift was taking over. And the officers report, still no Jim to change the guard and give any updates or anything. So the officers for the second shift, along with some of them from the first shift, they actually come back up here to Wimmer, where they knock on the door to Jim's room there. And there's no answer, and they can still hear that shower running.
Uh-oh.
So they, of course, since they are our campus security officers, they have master keys. So they unlock and they go into the little living room area there, and they're shouting, "Hey, Jim, 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 you here?" and there's no response. So one of the officers walks in from the living room area into the bedroom area and still calling for Jim. Still no answer. So walks into the little bathroom there in the room. Hey, Jim! Still no answer. But the shower's running. And when he walked into the bathroom, it was full of steam. So it was hot water, and you could just see the steam coming over from the shower and everything. Like it had fogged up the mirror in there and everything. So yeah, the entire room was full of steam.
One could say that it boiled over.
Well, just you wait.
Oh, God.
They pull back the curtain to find Jim lying on the floor of the bathtub there. Dead. So what happened was, they say that his body was there. There was a cut on his head, and there was bloodstains all over the tub, like on the ground there with the body. The official announcement from the coroner was that there wasn't any foul play or anything. However, and there was no weapons were found at the scene, just blood found on the body and a little bit on the tub. The idea is the night before, so Friday night, so this would have been March 5th, 1995, Jim ended the night, went back to his room, took a shower, and he had a heart attack and slipped or something while having the heart attack, most likely hit his head off of the spigot or something.
I would imagine you have a heart attack, pass out, fall. You don't slip.
Yeah, that all happens. Yeah, you slip, you fall. He hits his head at some point, whether that's off the spigot or whatever, and dies there in the shower. But like I said, the shower was hot. It's still running. And you gotta think now, this is now the evening, well, early evening of the next day. So that hot water's been running for probably a good 16, 18 hours.
There's a water bill joke to be made there somewhere, but I'm not going to do
Oh,
it.
yeah, there is. But here's the worst thing of all. When they pulled back the curtain to find Jim's body, his face was missing. Jim Boyle's face had boiled off.
Yeah.
The heat was so hot, and then one, it's now a corpse. It's no longer a body. So the starting to decay flesh or rotting flesh immediately after that, plus the hot water hitting that now dead skin,
I'm sorry.
all came right off.
A corpse is still a body.
Well, yeah, but the difference is that
it's not alive anymore. The way you said that just made me laugh.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify because it just seemed weird.
Yeah. So one thing is, and I'm looking here at the notes from Father Brian, is it was said in a old story, little thing that he made on all the ghost stories here of St. Vincent, that it was actually a student. Now, that is not true. Apparently, let's see if I can find it here again. Yeah, so it says that a student in a private room in Wimmer during a summer semester, good health, 20 years old, who isn't good when they're in good health when they're in their 20s, good hygiene, all that stuff, passed out in the shower, and he hit the hot water, so it went all the way down, making the water as hot as it was. He was found 3 hours later. Yeah, that's not true. It was Jim who was the person there. So most likely, yeah, he came down and either turned the water hot when he was when his body was falling, or who knows what happened. But this is the neat thing, and this is actually true. That
Again, he says neat.
Well, this is coming from Father Brian's notes here. So after Jim was found, they went in around 4:15, so he would have been found, I'm going to say, let's say 4:17 is when they found the body without its face. Body's taken out, they close up the room for a little bit of time. They're not allowing anyone to live in there because of what happened. Now, this says here that after that, after the death there in the room, all the pipes in Wimmer were replaced. From my knowledge, they weren't. So what happened was, they find the body, no face. Meaning his face melted, boiled off from the hot water, and all of the skin went down the drain of the tub.
Okay.
Now, this is the part that I've heard to be true. The next year, so they closed it up for that spring semester. They weren't allowing anyone to live in that room for the rest of that semester.
Right.
The next year, so the next fall, they open it up, and this floor, I've heard conflicting stories. Some have told me that it was still a guy's floor, as it is right now, but there's been another story saying that it was flipped to a girl's floor. So no matter what, a new student goes in to live in that room, a prefect for the floor, and what happens is they go to take a shower, and the water's not going down. Something's clogging the drain. So,
call FMO, get him up there.
yeah. And the student, along with FMO, they unscrew the little drain thing to see what it is. And when they put down whatever tool they have to unclog stuff and start pulling out, guess what they started pulling out? His face.
Yeah. Do we need to say it?
Oh, no, we have to say it. It's given, but yeah.
You just said
I know.
his face went down the drain, so it's like, well, what else could there be in there?
Air.
Yeah, but given the...
I know.
Whatever. I'm not going to explain.
I know.
You know what I mean, yeah.
I'm being a smart aleck, yeah. No, so they kept finding huge chunks of his face that they were pulling out of there.
I don't like that descriptor. Huge.
Well, they were good-sized chunks.
Yeah, but
it
just... it doesn't put a good image in you.
I mean, just imagine, like, a piece... Like, you're pulling out of this drain, the entire cheek, like, right here on my face, worth of skin. You just pull right out of the drain.
How did it get down the drain, then?
I don't know.
Like, wouldn't there be, like, grates and whatever?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was just a long strip, so maybe it's just, like, from here over something. I don't know.
Oh.
But they were pulling out pieces of his face when they came to get it. So what happened was, pretty much the...
what you just said.
Yeah. His Jim Boyle, B-O-Y-L-E, his face boiled, B-O-I-L-E-D, off.
Yes, thank you. We know how to spell.
I know. Though that's just always how Father Brian told the story, and how Jim Walters has told the story, is they always make that connection. His last name was Boyle, and that's how he died. He's having half of, his face.
Very ironic.
It is. Now, the interesting thing from the great Braden Boggs, prefect of the third floor for the 2024-2025 year, is when I told him this story, he had actually told me, and he showed me photos, that when you first walked into his room, he's got that little living room area, and then there's his bedroom, and then the bathroom right off that. He, when laying in bed, apparently one night, kept feeling like there was something watching him, and so he takes his phone and he snaps a photo, and he got a photo of what looks like a decent height of a shadow figure in his room. Almost as if it was watching from near his door in the living room area into his bedroom where his bed is.
Nah.
Now, whether that is the ghost of Jim Boyle or not is still yet to be determined. I like to think it is. Now, of course, when he's telling me this and showing this, I'm in his room. I took my K2 through there, swept the entire place, and I got no reading of anything. I've also done a few other of our...
tests.
Well, tests, and then just other precautionary things that we do to make sure that Spirit knows, okay, you ain't going to be messing with this, nothing's going to happen, you have no power over us, pretty much. So, like, there's no... This way, this shadow figure, if it does continue to appear, won't, like, get itself attached to Boggs or anything like that, or anyone. So it might still show up, but it won't be able to do anything. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
Okay.
So yeah, that he has said that he's seen that, and he's going to let me know if he sees anything else. But for any future prefects, if you do become a prefect for the third floor of Wimmer, now actually, I don't know what's going to happen here. This will be interesting within the next few years. Wimmer is being gutted after this year.
Ooh.
So they're going to like tear all the insides out. They're going to tear the guts out of Wimmer and redo it. So I don't know if the rooms are still going to be as big or if they're going to be bigger or what's all going to be happening there. So this will be interesting because this will be the first time that the inside of the building's been changed since Jim died. So just kind of like how we talked about the other spirit from Benny, who came from the orphanage, froze to death, and moved with like the ground after they tore the orphanage down. You know, who knows? There's a good chance that Jim could either stay or leave, depending what happens there. So that will be interesting to see what happens with the spirit of Jim Boyle here in Wimmer Hall as they redo the building.
Yeah.
But anything else? Any other questions or anything for this?
No, this one is just surprisingly straightforward.
Yeah. This is a very small story too. Yeah,
I got nothing.
Okay. Well, then this is one of our shorter episodes, I think.
Yeah.
But,
the first, honestly.
Tell me about. Well, maybe since. I don't know, because they've all been half an hour, 45 minutes. Yeah. I think the Jenny from Benning one was close to an hour.
Close.
Yeah.
I think it's 30 minutes anyway.
No, some of them have been 30 minutes, but this is one of our shorter ones. So with that, we don't have anything else. Also, I'm sorry guys, but Jake and I are both also a little burnt out. We did just get back from Thanksgiving break, and it was a very short break, in my thoughts. I don't know.
We're also trying to scramble. Looks like at some point we're gonna have to go off campus because we don't have that many stories left.
Yeah, there's not many left because we're starting to get through them all.
Yeah, we're starting to scramble a little bit. So
no. The other thing is that it's now getting close to finals week, so
that too.
We're a little burnt out because of I
have a ton of essays to do.
Yeah, you got your stuff to do. I got my stuff to do. Yeah. So this was kind of chosen just to be a short one because of
just for the sake of simplicity.
And
and what you said, yeah.
But we will be back next week with actually a very interesting story, Jake. So I know that
you said that you better live up to that because you said that throughout all these stories.
Well, I find them interesting. You might be not as much, but no. Why I say
I'm just saying you got to live up to that.
Well, yeah. Well, why I say next week's is going to be interesting is we just celebrated Founders Day a few weeks ago.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We celebrated that right before Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving. However, Founders Day was not always on the Thursday before Thanksgiving.
Oh.
It used to be in December. So it was all supposed to talk about the day that Boniface Wimmer died, which was December 8th. So they always had it as a memorial to when he died and to celebrate the founding of St. Vincent. So keeping with the original tradition, we will actually be telling a story about Founders Day and Archabbot Wimmer when closer to the actual day that he died. So so that will be a neat one because I don't know if we'll tell it out by his statue or if we'll tell it in the basilica or maybe out by his grave.
Oh God,
we got a lot of neat places.
I don't want to go back to that cemetery after that.
Oh, we'll get into those ones. Yeah,
I was by the Wimmer statue that night. But that'll be part of the story for that time, for when that time comes.
You mean the Wimmer grave?
The Wimmer statue all the way at the other end of the cemetery?
There is no Wimmer statue. Are you talking about the statue of Mary?
No, there's a statue all the way at the end of somehow of Boniface Wimmer. Who's that of then?
That's of Mary that you're thinking of. That's Scary Mary, which we will get into in the new year. I'm
gonna show you that.
Okay.
There's a statue back there, and I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the Lady of Our Prom statue, which we'll talk about. She cries blood.
I know that we were trying to look for that statue that night. I've told you that.
Yeah. All right. With that, however, we need to finally wrap this up. So tune in next week as we tell the interesting story of Archabbot Wimmer and Founders Day with his spirit. But with that, this has been another episode of Unearthing the Unknown. I'm your host, Matt Boyer.
And I'm Jacob Bacasa.
We'll see you next week.